Ladies and gentlemen, let us look at Lombok SuperBuilder and why it is quite smart, and it's why it's something that we actually want to use. That is what this video is about. So this is my project right here. It's a Spring Boot project. I've created by pressing File, New, Projects, and then I chose the Spring Initializer, and I created a new one, and I'm using Java 21 tonight, and yeah, 21, and then I added the web module, I added the JPA, I added H2, I added JPA, and I added Lombok, of course, as modules. And then I ended up with this project right here. I'm using Gradle just for fun tonight. So here we have the dependencies, the web, the data, JPA, the Lombok, the H2, and of course some testing which comes by default. Okay, so what is the problem that we are trying to solve? We have an entity right here. This is my hero entity, and I have a character entity that I'm extending. Okay, that's quite impressive, Mike. Is that possible with the APA? Yes, it is possible to extend stuff with the APA, but that is not the point of this video right here. The point is now that I want to show that we can, of course, use the all-logs constructor. That means that Lombok will actually will create a constructor that matches all of the properties that we have right here. That is possible, and then we could go to, I've made this component right here so we can create some default data. Here we have the component, and if you create an annotation with at post construct, then you can have a method where you call whatever code you want to run. And in our situation, we want to have a hero repository that saves some data, and that means that in this situation right here, I want to create a new hero entity like this. And first of all, you can see we did not get the properties from the superclass. We only have ID and superpower. That can actually be solved with Lombok also, but we do not want to use all-logs constructor, because if we change the order of these properties right here, let's say that we have superpower before ID, then our constructor is being changed, and that means that then we have to refactor the code where it's used, and we will get a lot of errors in our compilation errors in our code. Some people actually like to get those compilation errors, because then they can go through those and then they can fix and make sure that they add the new field that they added or whatever. But if you're just changing the order of your member variables, then you don't want to go through all of these places where you instantiate a new instance of your hero entity right here. So what you want to do is instead you want to use the builder pattern. The builder pattern is awesome. So you might want to add builder on your both on the class that you're extending, and also on the other class. So both on the hero entity and on the character entity. The character entity right here has two member variables, a name and age, and it has this mapped superclass right here. The mapped superclass means that this is not a real entity. This is a class that is meant to be extended from from a real entity. That means that it does not have an ID field. That's okay. The builder pattern right here, it actually requires the all-logs constructor, but we do not have to use it. So if we have the builder pattern, we also have to add the all-logs constructor, but we should not use it. Remember that. Do not use the constructor. Use the builder pattern. And how do we do that, Mike? Yes, let me just show that. So we go to this is the class where we actually where we can create some default data, and here I say hero entity, then I get my builder and build. This is the builder. This is the builder pattern, and this means that we can just mention the fields that we want to set. That means superpower, and this could be can eat many burgers in a row. And of course now I cannot put mine. The problem is now I cannot access the age, and I cannot access the name. So I cannot say that this is actually Mike right here. That is a huge problem, right? And that is exactly what we want to solve with this super builder. So if I go to my hero entity right here, instead of builder, then I change this to super builder instead. The super builder, yes, it comes from the experimental class. It comes from an experimental package, I know that, But it works, and it's been working for many years. That's actually not big, yeah. So, but of course, it's up to you whether you want to use the experimental packages that we have right here. But most of the code actually in the experimental package has been there for many years and has worked consistently through many years. And that also includes the SuperBuilder right here. The SuperBuilder is awesome. So when you start using the SuperBuilder, then you also have to use the SuperBuilder in all the classes that you extend. So that means that let's say you had a huge hierarchy of 5 or 6 classes that extend each other. Then of course you would have to go and you would have to say add SuperBuilder in all of these classes right here. You should not use inheritance too much. That will just obfuscate your code, and it will probably not give any value at all. So keep inheritance to a minimum, and that is just my own best practice at least. So now we have added SuperBuilder to the hero entity that we have right here, and also to the character entity that we have right here. So now let us create some data again. So now we will create some default data in my hero default data component that I have right here. So let us go create some data right now. Let's see what actually happened. Yes, now I have name, and I also have access to age, which was part of the character entity. And it should actually not be named entity because it's not a real entity. It is a mapped superclass, right? So it is something that is meant to be mapped to be extended. So it is also abstract. So you could actually prefix it with abstract if you want to. You could also say that you could also postfix it with mapped superclass if you want to. That's also one option. I'm old-fashioned, so I like to prefix my. I like to prefix my abstract classes with abstract. That's just how we did it in the good old days. So, not good old days, not just old days. Days nowadays, the time nowadays is just as good, of course. It was also good in the old days, so you can still say good old days, but you can also say good present, right? Yes. So here we have the name, that is the mic, and then we have the age, 47. Actually 46, I should not break. So, yeah. So we have the superpower can eat many burgers in a row, and of course we can create another superhero. By the way, there are actually a lot of superheroes that have been open sourced, like Robin Hood. You can use Robin Hood just as you want to. Oh, Hero Abstract. Now change the name to Hero Abstract also. See, that is really annoying. That's because I did not see what IntelliJ actually did. Hero Entity. Entity. This is an entity, so I still want this to be named Entity. So Hero Entity extends abstract character. That's fine. And now I can create multiple of these. So I press Ctrl D on my keyboard for duplicate. So now I'm duplicating these lines right here. And the other hero could be Robin Hood, because Robin Hood is an open source hero. Robin Hood. And how old is a Robin Hood? I don't know actually. It's probably different depending on which movie or if it's the original book that. And what can Robin Hood do? He's very accurate. Accurate with bow at least. So that is his special power. And we are not mentioning the ID, and that is on purpose, of course. That is because we have, if we go to our hero entity, then we have a generated value on top of our ID. That means that the ID will automatically be created for us. The strategy is auto. This means that we don't care about how our JPA and Hibernate actually finds that ID. And if you say that, then usually it will just be the maximum ID in the table, and then +1 every time you create a new one. If you have something for production, then you should consider using the sequence instead. Then you actually have a real number generator inside your database that will create you and give you a new ID every time. But you should not provide these IDs yourself. If you have a writing code where you are setting the ID when you want to create a new row in the database, then you have done something wrong. Then it's probably because you are new to JPA and you don't know about the add generated value right here. Okay, so far so good. So let me start up my Spring Boot application. It was actually already running, but let us just restart it and see that it still runs. Yes, it is running on port 8080, and right down, and it's and it started. So we have a H2 database. I have done is a little trick right here. I've cheated a little bit. I've added the H2 console, and right here I've set it to true, and I have set the path to H2 console. That means that I can actually go and look into the database. My H2 URL is like this: memory. MEM stands for memory, and then hero. That is the name of my memory database. You can also use a file with H2 if you want to, but for many times when you're developing, then you want, every time you start your application locally on your own machine, you want a fresh database to run, so you can try out whatever you want to try. So this is my H2 database console right here. Let me just refresh so we can connect, and I will press username password SASA right now, and here is my hero table inside my database, and I just press once and I can press play. And I have a mic, and I have a can eat many burgers, and I have Robin Hood, accurate with bow. And I have some IDs that are also set on that. That means that it actually works. We are happy. We're actually happy. We have created our new hero with the super builder that we have right here. Another thing, when you're dealing with JPA and when you're dealing with also with Jackson, if let's say that you have a REST controller where you're returning some data, then you need a no-args constructor also. That means that you will get a constructor that is the default constructor that without any arguments at all, without any parameters. That is the no-args constructor. So JPA and Hibernate, they require you to have this, and also the Jackson also needs this. The all-args constructor is needed by the builder. Actually, when we are using the SuperBuilder, let's see what happens here. Can I remove all-args constructor? Yes, I could. Okay, so I'll go to my abstract character. Again, I'll remove all-args constructor. Okay, so that was another plus with the SuperBuilder. It does not require you to have that all-args constructor there. So let us restart our application. We will see if we still have the heroes. Just for fun, let us add a new hero so we can see that. Something happened, right? So we have Robin Hood right here, and let us check Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein and his monster is also Frankenstein. Those are also open sourced. When I say open source, they're listed under under IP, in the intellectual property that is actually open source. That means that you can actually use it in your own stories, and you can also, I think you can also write books and actually sell those books, but you cannot prevent anyone else from doing the same thing. So, but Dr. Frankenstein is right here. But you can take all of these open sourced heroes, and then you can mix them together in your own story, in your own book, or in your own computer game. That is actually quite awesome, right? Dr. Frankenstein, he is a creator, so he is good at creating stuff. Good at creating stuff. He's also good with lightning, of course. So, and his age, I don't know. It could be like 49. So now we have an extra hero. We will restart our application because it's quite fast to actually start up. It is seconds that we're talking about. And then we go to our H2 console once again. And I have to reconnect. So I will just reconnect right here. SA connects, yes, now connected. And I run my SQL once again. So now we also have Dr. Frankenstein right there and good at creating stuff. So it still works without the all-args constructor. That's quite cool. Let us see what happens if I remove the no-args constructor. That means that then the constructor without any arguments is then being removed by Lombok. It's just not being added. Let us just see what happens then. The APA should complain when you do that, and we'll go to abstract character also and delete no-args constructor. And let us see what happens now. Hero, look, now we have the first error right here. The hero entity should have a public or protected no-args constructor. Okay. It should have that. What happens if we start it up without it? It is not a real compile error, but IntelliJ has figured out that this was not a good idea. It is not a compilation error. Why does it say that? Let us see if our database is still intact. So we'll go here, we'll close the connection. SA, connect. Okay, we actually, it actually started up. Let us create a new. But IntelliJ complains and say that it's not good, and we should also have it there. Let us create another hero. So we will create another hero. And let us just find an open source hero. So open source heroes. Heroes that can be used. Open source heroes. Superheroes right there. Okay, so that is just a lot of other heroes that can be used. Public domain superheroes. That was what I was looking for, actually. It was the public domain superheroes. Yes. Daredevil. Right there. Yes. We will add Daredevil also. So, okay, Daredevil. Let us add that one. So now we have a new superhero right here, Daredevil. He's good. Yeah, but he's a good fighter. He is good fighter. And I think he's 20-something, probably. At least he is in my program right here. And that is okay, because it is a public domain superhero. That was what I was looking for. Public domain, that was a great name. So I'll go back to my database right here, and let us see what happened now. We are actually allowed to not to have the no-ax constructor. Of course, IntelliJ is complaining right here. I think one. Of course, we are getting one per default. Yes, let's say that we actually create another constructor. Then we will have a problem right here. So let us say that I create a new constructor just with superpower, just for fun, like this. I'm pretty sure now we will be in trouble, because let us see what happened now. No, it also worked. Okay. But best practice, if you're using JSON, if you want to turn this into JSON, then you need that no-ax constructor. And you should also add it. You can see that IntelliJ complains. So let us just create this one, add no-ax constructor, like this. From Lombok, yes. Let us just see what happens now. Yes, it needs one in the base class. Yes. Let us add one to the base class. Yeah, so now all of the errors actually disappeared. Yes, so that's what I wanted to show. Use the SuperBuilder when you are extending classes, when they inherit from each other, and then you don't have to use the constructor, and then you will use the builder. You will be a much happier person. You can much easier create new instances of your classes. So we have a hero, we have a SuperBuilder, we have the abstract character. Again, we have the SuperBuilder, and remember the maps superclass right here, because this is meant for being included into an entity. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great evening, and as usual, feel free to check out my. Or to clone the project on GitHub. I'll upload it as usual. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.